Hey everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I'm back with another apartment renovation, and we are renovating 17 Culpepper House in the Spice District of San Myshuno. And we're going to be turning this into a Whimsigoth inspired apartment. If you're not familiar with Whimsigoth, it is a fairly popular aesthetic, and I have created a Whimsigoth apartment on the channel before, as it is something I really enjoy. It basically blends whimsical and gothic elements and is its own style that's kind of like dark and playful. Think of like Celestial vibes or Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Basically like fantasy, whimsy, vintage, dark, playful. Mix all of that together and you have Whimsigoth. I really love this style, and seeing as I got a lot of comments recently asking me to create something else in this style, I was totally on board. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't recreating the same apartment I did last time, so I went for a very different color scheme in here, and it's one I really like. The first Whimsigoth apartment I did was definitely more pink. This one is like blue and gold, and it is so beautiful. I want to move in right now. And I feel like this is just one of my many dream apartments. I tend to build a lot of things that I would like to personally live in myself in The Sims, and this is no exception. I also wanted to let you know that I still have a creator code with EA, so if you're buying any Sims packs on the EA app, you can enter my code Gryphi at checkout to support me as a creator. Thank you so much for considering, and thanks to EA for sponsoring this portion of the video. I started by using these counters from Horse Ranch. I don't keep them in the end. I actually end up changing them out for these ones from Life and Death in a different swatch. They start as this green because I was kind of leaning into this really pretty green color on the walls, but we're going to change it up and it's going to be like a navy blue explosion in this space, and I think it ends up being so incredibly beautiful, and I'm so glad that I stuck with it and changed the color scheme in the end. I just think it's a really cool apartment, and I'm excited for you to see that process. But first, I am wrapping the kitchen around this corner, adding a brick detail, and then I'm going to play with the swatches. And I discovered this gorgeous swatch of these counters where the countertop itself is navy blue and the rest of it is gray with gold knobs, and I just thought it was perfect. I don't think I even knew this swatch existed, and I was thrilled about it. So I then added a nice navy backsplash. I brought in these beautiful jars up above the island. They are lights that are made out of like mason jars. I thought that that fit the theme quite nicely. I also hung up some herbs. We have a beautiful golden sun up above the stove, and I bring in so many different plants, a lot of sunflowers and stuff, as I think they look so nice against the navy blue throughout this apartment. But I am so incredibly proud of this kitchen. I am grabbing a beautiful runner rug in here and a couple of chairs, and this is where I brought in some purple. I actually ended up grabbing these island stools from, I believe, Discovery University, that have a purple top to them, and I thought that that would be such a nice space to bring in that color. And I actually ended up swapping out the island for this floating island as well, which is from the latest kitchen clutter kit. I just think it helped to tie it into the rest of the apartment, as the floors are this dark wood color and the counters are gray. So I decided to bring it in with that piece, and it allowed me to add some more clutter there as well. So I was quite pleased with that. I'm really glad that we recently got this island on wheels from the kitchen clutter kit. I just feel like it's really versatile and something that's going to work in a lot of spaces, as it has worked here. But anyway, I'm just hanging up some pots and pans up above the stove and getting some fruit on the island. And then we are starting to work on the living room. I kind of already started it before by putting the egg chair in the corner because I knew I wanted to use that. And then I pulled out a couple of different couch options, and I actually ended up going with this lounge one from the, oh goodness, the Secret Sanctuary kit. I thought it was perfect. I love the blue swatch on it, so I'm using that here, and the rug is actually from Crystal Creations. And then I'm just picking out some curtains over here. I believe these ones are from Riviera Retreat. I don't use them very often, but they were that perfect like yellowy brown color that I was going for in the rest of the apartment. And then over here, I'm figuring out our TV console. I end up using this one from Refined Living Room and creating a bit of a gallery wall using this gorgeous TV, which is also from Secret Sanctuary. So I'm grabbing all sorts of paintings to put around here to try and, blend it into the wall. I even got this skull from Horse Ranch. I saw a lot of things like that in reference pictures, so I thought it would be kind of fun. And yeah, we have some keys over here. There's a lot of different like critters on some of the artwork. I also brought in some plants, and I'm just rearranging things, trying to figure out the best way to lay everything out. It does take a while, but we do get there in the end, and I'm pretty pleased with the overall result. It's just sometimes gallery walls can be pretty finicky, both in real life and in The Sims. But yeah, just getting some books over here. I like using these ones. They are base game. They're an unlockable of some sort. I never remember from where, but they look like they're like magical books. And so that felt very appropriate for this build. I also got some candles and a box and basket, which I'm pretty sure I don't keep up here. I think they end up being on the coffee table in the end, but this is where I started grabbing them. So just placing all of that down and changing some of these swatches. I thought the pink was a little bit too bright for that area, and I'm always just trying to assess the colors, how they go together and all of that. So yeah, anyway, this is the coffee table I ended up using. This one's from Lovestruck, and I almost never use this coffee table. But I really liked the curvy edges of it. I thought it worked nicely in this space, so I do end up using that. And I did consider using this really cool bookcase over here in the corner, the one that was closed. I believe that one is from, oh goodness, that one might also be, no, it's not Secret Sanctuary. It might be Life and Death. I end up using it in the bedroom, not out here. I actually end up using these ones instead. I think they fit the space a little bit better, and I have a beautiful draping plant, which I grabbed from the kitchen, so I replaced it with a different one. So here is that process of me choosing what I want to put in the kitchen instead. I end up going with this one from the greenhouse kit. And then we are moving around all of the items on the coffee table. I do end up keeping that box and those flowers and got a couple of magazines here as well. And I think that's it for the coffee table. It's pretty simple, but I think it looks nice. And I also grabbed the record player from the Secret Sanctuary kit. It's the beautiful blue color, and I just thought it was perfect for this apartment. And then there's another gallery wall over on this side, but this one's already put together. And I just wanted to have something beautiful up above the dining room table, and I love that gallery wall. It's gorgeous. I love the shape of the frames and the actual like art in them. That's something I would love to own in real life, so I thought it was great to put over here. Just scooching everything a little bit more forward so that there is more room for your Sims to route around and actually get over to the dining table. And then I did get a corner shelf over here, which I'm going to be putting some books on, and I also grabbed a clock to put on the wall and make that part of the gallery wall. It's always really fun to create your own gallery walls or just like add different pieces to existing ones to sort of complete them. I always really enjoy that. And then of course I did need to have my favorite hanging plant in the game hanging over here, and a couple of wall lights as well to finish off our dining space. I think that's most of it for this room, just changing the wallpaper and adding a couple more pieces of clutter to the kitchen like these plates, and a place to hang up some bathrobes. I believe there's also a chalkboard I'm going to put over here and a broom. I would love the idea of a sim that is a spellcaster living here. I think that could be really nice. Or maybe a fairy, because it appears that we're getting fairies soon. So that is an idea as well. But anyway, moving on into the bedroom, I'm trying to figure out what bed I want to go for. I try a few different ones, and I actually end up keeping this one from high school years in the end with these beautiful floral prints on it. I just thought it was so nice. And I'm going to try and make it blend in a little bit more with the style I wanted, because it's very Art Deco inspired, at least the, like the headboard. Yeah, the headboard, that's the right word. So I do end up actually covering that up with a curtain, and I was so pleased with this decision. So I ended up using this one from Lovestruck, and it's going to be in this like beige color, which I think is really pretty. And then I bring that in as well through our curtains in here. These ones are from Desert Luxe, and they're another really nice one that has the curtain rod that you can extend into different sizes. And then I'm just picking out the rug to bring in the wallpaper again here with through the blue color with a couple of bedside tables. I at first thought I was going to have two of the same, and then I tried a couple of different mismatched ones. And I really like what I was going with here, but something about it didn't feel quite right. So I do end up actually moving one to the other side. And it looks like I start cluttering things up first, but I am going to swap out the bedside table on the right side of the bed for a bookcase, the one I actually put in the living room originally and then got rid of. I don't really know exactly how to explain why I did this, other than when I was looking at it, it was bothering me that the bedside tables were similar heights, but not exactly the same. And I like how it looks to have things that are not symmetrical. So I thought having a taller piece on this side would look really nice. And I'm really glad I did that. I love how it looks. And because I did that, I did still really want to use something that looked like that bedside table that I got rid of. And so I end up using the dresser instead from Life and Death, which matches the original one. Whereas this bedside table here is like a chest, I believe from Paranormal. I also decided to get some canvases in here. I thought it looked so pretty. So of course the sim ends up being a bit of an artist, and that's how I end up decorating the other bedroom. It's more of an office art studio space. And here is that dresser I had mentioned. Just going to grab a mirror up here. I end up scaling, or not scaling, I raised up this mirror here from the Basement Treasures kit. and a plant as well, and I think it looks really pretty. I love this mirror. I usually use it just as a floor mirror as it's intended, but this time I just thought that this looked nice. And then I got a gorgeous tapestry on this wall with a brick backsplash, and I believe I get another mirror over here. Yeah, another full length or floor length. Is it full length or floor length? I never know which is the correct word. Either way, that's over here. And then I got a little plant in here with a chair over in the corner in this beautiful yellow swatch. And then we're moving on into the bathroom, which I use these really colorful tiles. I don't recall. I think these are from Riviera Retreat. I believe they're from what I call the pool pack. They're like pool tiles, but I thought that they looked really nice. The orange and the yellowy gold color, as that's kind of what I've been using throughout this entire apartment. And I loved how that looked in here. So I just got some matching counters to the kitchen. I also used this adorable little shelf up above the toilet from Life and Death. It's shaped like a little ghost and has a little ghosty on it, and I really enjoy it. So I wanted to include that in here. I also was trying ever since I started the apartment in the kitchen to use this little like terrarium piece, and it wasn't working, but I did get it to work in here. So quite happy about that. And then grabbing some towels in here and a bunch of just random clutter pieces. That makes sense for a bathroom in the correct colors. I love these waffle knit towels from the bathroom kit. I think they are so beautiful. So I was happy to use those. And I also grabbed a little light to put in here as well. And then I also decided to extend that brick along the back wall of the bathroom as I have it across the entirety of the wall through the other two rooms. So it made sense that it would continue over there. Anyway, just grabbing a bath mat and a couple of decorations to put up on this shelf up above the toilet. I get some toilet paper, I got a candle, some lotions, and what is the last thing? Oh, some soap. There we go. And that is pretty much it for that bathroom. And we should be heading on into the final room of this apartment, which is going to be our little art studio. But first, I just got a little rug in the hallway. Anyway, in here, I heavily used the artist studio kit. Well, I say heavily. I used the easel in here and also, I believe, some of the sketches that you can put on the wall. And then I have a desk in here also from the Crystal Creations pack. Or, yeah, is it Crystal Creations? Yes, I keep getting that and Paranormal confused. But I just really wanted this to be a cozy space that the sim could work on their art. And so the corner windows were a perfect spot for the easel to go. I have a bunch of their paintbrushes on this little stool and some plants and stuff around in here as well. And I will also be getting a bookcase in here that has the ladder up it. It's just such a really beautiful bookcase that is so dreamy. And that's kind of how I feel about this style. It's a very dreamy style. It feels so magical in a lovely, like, heartwarming way. I'm not sure if that makes sense. That's kind of how I view it, though. This is something that I feel like I've always enjoyed. And so I do have a special place for it in my heart. But I did add some beautiful artwork on the walls of some moons from Crystal Creations. I also got this gorgeous mirror that is shaped like a crescent moon from Werewolves. I love the curtains I put in this room as well. Those ones are from Paranormal. The little like dangly bits on them I think are gorgeous. And then I got a couple of pieces of clutter over here on the bookshelf, as well as a nice lamp. And then we should be cluttering up the desk with a couple of items. I don't go too overboard in here. I do have a plant. I made sure to have a book for them to write in and some like pens and pencils and stuff. And that should be it. And then we will be finishing up in the entryway where I was determined to use this plant. I kind of stuck it into the wall where the closet is. I think that worked quite nicely. And then I just brought in some of this brick wallpaper in here. And I end up creating, once again, another gallery wall. I start with just two portraits, but it didn't feel quite right. It didn't feel like it matched the rest of the apartment. So I will actually be getting rid of one of them and turning this into a gallery moment. And I think it worked very, very well. But that is it for this apartment. I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more and click that bell to be notified when I upload. And thank you to my YouTube members for all of your support. If you'd like to become a member yourself, you can click the join button below the video or the link in the description. Let me know what you'd like to see next on the channel, and I will see you all soon. Enjoy the screenshots. Bye, everyone.